get a chance to speak, and we are going to take your questions and your suggestions. Before we do that, let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, we go straight to our guest to discuss this worrying situation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Spotlight. Thank you for staying with us. This evening, I'm going to be speaking with Honorable Isaku Tairu Mumin, who is MCE for the Wa Municipal Assembly. I'm also going to be speaking with Mutari Mumuni Mukhtar, who is a security analyst and executive director at West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism. I'm also speaking with our regional content manager in the in the Upper West region. That's Erasung Tajuddin. He's going to join us to give us a breakdown of the situation so far. Let me just go to the line, see if I can get a hold of Erasung. Good evening, Tajuddin.
Okay, it's already.
Tajuddin, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please unmute yourself. I have zero sound from you. Erasung, are you there? Okay, I'm going to try to get back to you shortly, but we're going to quickly move on to Mutari Mumuni Mukhtar, who's a security analyst and executive director at West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening to you, and good evening to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. As a security analyst who's been monitoring this situation in Wa that has been developing, what is your initial reaction to it?
Well, we are all learning the details of what is going on. We are beginning to understand, the extent of what it is and why, and what the victims or who the victims are in this situation. We are trying to put the pieces together in terms of the larger implications for these kinds of security situations happening here. We are very, very worried, and I'm personally very worried about it because it has elements that significantly, undermine our ability to contain large-scale situations in terms of hostage taking, and the fact that we are beginning to prepare for, threats relating to violent extremism within the West African sub-region. So it has everything that we should be worried about. And, unfortunately, we are yet to uncover the attackers or the perpetrators and the motivation for what they are doing in this situation.
Right. We're just going to put some suggestions of some concerned Ghanaians on the screen. I'm coming back to you shortly, Mutari, but a lot of people have been talking about this situation in the Upper West region. It should be rolling on your screen. There have been some recommended solutions to the authorities, and we're just going to take a look at that. Sharif Mahmoud Khalid is an indigene of the Upper West region. In fact, he's contested for Member of Parliament, previously for Wa Central. And he's just saying that on the current situation in Wa, it's a possible state of emergency. All exit and entry points into the region should be tightly monitored with accompanying constant searches, increased police patrols, and random searches. He's encouraging the security forces to work with informants in the region. In fact, we have seen some other counter suggestions. I mean, here is Dana Samad, who says great suggestions on the issue of working with informants. There's a tacit feeling out there that the police easily blow the cover of informants and put their lives in danger. How can such a thing go on for months without anyone venturing information? These operations are not that sophisticated to have gone on for this long without any leads based on information. People are afraid to venture information from snippets in the grapevine. Interesting. Let me come back to Mutari. Mutari, this is what some people are saying on social media, that it seems some people have information, but they're afraid to offer that information to the security forces because they do not think they will be safe after speaking.
Well, the security situation we're dealing with, it's not specific to any particular group of people. It is a danger to all of us, to the people of Wa, to the people of the region, and the entire country. All of us should be interested in how we can help track down the perpetrators and help restore calm and ensure peaceful atmosphere for everyone. And to the extent that people are worried or fearful of revenge attacks or being victimized, the volunteer information relating to this, it is a very serious situation that we all have to reflect. But more importantly, we need the security agencies to be able to engage in a manner that can elicit confidence and trust between them and the local population. We need to be able to trust local law enforcement, the police service, to be able to volunteer information and to also be assured of our anonymity in giving out information. In fact, the police service operates with that. It will operate with the principle of anonymity when it comes to soliciting information from the local population. And the Constitution or the operational standard protects informants in relation to crime. And so we have to be able to have the police agents, the police engage with the local population to have that kind of confidence in dealing with the police. And that must be done now to ensure that we actually fully uncover the perpetrators and the motivation for which they are doing this.
Now, have we gotten to the level where we can say the state of emergency should be declared?
I don't think declaring the state of emergency is a thing. I'm not sure whether we should be declaring a state of emergency at this point. What we need to reactivate, all the capacity of the police service within the region. If we need reinforcement to ensure that we have adequate police numbers, to ensure that we uncover this as quickly as possible, it's important. I think effectively dealing with this matter is what is important at the moment.
And also there's this perception that the security response has been very slow. Is this what we are looking at?
Well, I've had some people talk about low police numbers in the region, especially in a time like this. We need police officers, nearly in all areas of Wa and surrounding areas, and possible areas outside of Wa, in terms of where these individuals could be hiding or could be working from. And so the numbers are key. We need to deploy more security forces throughout all hours of the day to ensure that we effectively police everywhere. But it's more important in terms of how do we engage the local population to be willing to volunteer information. I do not believe that throughout this period, no one member of the community, no single individual has information relating to this crime that has been going on. It is almost impossible that all this can happen at the blind side of every other member of the community. Almost certainly, some people have information relating to this. And how we get that information, how we get local population or these individuals to be able to volunteer that information to law enforcement is key. And I think that is what is key at the moment. How do we get that happen should be the single biggest task now for police.
Right, Mutari, I think I share that sentiment. How to get them especially to work with the police, because there seems to be some reluctance there. in working with the police. Let me go back to the line and see if I can catch Erasung, because I'd like him to give us a quick breakdown of the situation. I'll come back to you in a moment. Please stay on the line with us. Erasung, are you on the line now? Hello, Tajuddin, can you hear me? Tajuddin, I'm still having issues with your line, but we're going to keep trying to reach you. If you just joined us at home on Spotlight, this is Spotlight on MX24 television. We're discussing a very worrying, very distressing security situation that's developing in the Upper West region with quite a number of kidnappings and murders, which has gotten everyone very concerned. The IGP has just arrived in the region today on a 2-day working visit, trying to get to the bottom of this situation in the Upper West region. We are also being joined presently by the Municipal Chief Executive of the WA Municipal Assembly, Honorable Isaku Tahiru Mumin. Honorable, good evening. Honorable Mumin, good evening. Hello, Honorable, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please unmute yourself, because I can't hear you. Hello, Honorable. Okay, unfortunately, I think we're having some issues with the lines, but we're going to try to get Honorable Mumin. He's going to be speaking to us shortly. I'm just going to try Tajuddin again. Hopefully, we have him on the line this time. Good evening, Tajuddin.
Good evening, Noah.
Tajuddin, we've had quite some difficulty getting you on the line. But if you can just give us a quick rundown of what exactly is happening in the Upper West region right now, specifically the WA municipality.
All right, so let me say good evening to you and good evening to our cherished viewers. For the past few days, the Upper West region has been in the news for cases of abductions and killings. And most of these cases involves security guards here in the WA municipality. So for the last 8 months, there have been 9 abductions and killings. Some of these bodies have been found in shallow graves and retrieved, while some of their body parts have been missing. But let me just take you through some of these cases that we have recorded here in the WA municipality precisely. So on the June 16th, a man was found buried in a shallow grave with his parts missing. Somewhere April 17, 2022, a man was also killed, and then also his some of his body parts were missing. As far back as February 2021, a man was also killed in front of a local radio station called an info radio station. September 11, 2024, a man was kidnapped and has since not returned. September 9, 2022, a man narrowly escaped death. August 23, 2022, a security man found dead with parts missing, including his hat. Then August 31st, I think that is just some last month, a few months ago, some of the cases that has angered the youth to stage demonstration, to urge the security forces and stakeholders to act over the issue. So on August 31st, another man was killed between Loho and Kaleo. These two villages are around, they are just not far from the regional capital. So these are some of the cases that have been recorded here in the WA municipality. Everybody living in the regional capital now is alarmed. The residents feared that they could be the next. And now they are on their toes, asking questions, urging the security forces to step up their game in order to bring the perpetrators to book. One of the issues that has made residents to start asking questions and doubting the capabilities of the security forces is that over this period that these cases have been recorded, not single arrests have been caused by the security forces. So as we speak, the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Ekufu George Dampare, is in town. He's walking through the principal streets of the regional capital, interacting with residents, listening to their concerns, and reassuring them that the situation will be brought under control. So since his arrival, he has paid courtesy calls on the Upper West Regional Minister and that of the overlord of the Wala traditional area, Naf Hussein Isaidu Pelpo the fourth. And in all of these separate meetings, the IGP and other security officials have held closed-door meetings with the regional minister and the WANA. But as we speak, he is still on the streets, meeting residents, listening to them, and reassuring them, giving them confidence that the perpetrators will be brought to book. So as we speak, that is the security situation here in the Wa municipality.
Erasong, let me get this straight. In the last 8 months, there have been 9 victims. And in these 8 months, there has been no single arrest in all the investigations that are being done around these cases. Not one single arrest. Hello, Erasong, can you hear me?
Yes, okay. Arrest has been. But let me also hear you.
Yes. And you're saying these victims are usually found with missing body parts.
Yes, about some of these corpses that has been retrieved from shallow graves, some of them have their body parts missing. The latest one that happened just last Thursday, the body was seen on Sunday in a shallow grave with his tongue and his eye on the ground. In fact, that was what they saw on in the bush, and that is what led them to, identify the body that was being buried in a shallow grave.
I see. Erasong, I'll come back to you in a moment, but let me engage the MCE for Wa Municipality, Honorable Isaku Tahir Mumin, who's joined us on the line. Honorable, thank you so much for your time. Good evening.
Good evening, my sister. How are you?
Very well, Honorable. When you listen to these incidents as the MCE, how does it make you feel?
Well, certainly, I will not feel good. But I certainly feel bad. And that is why you don't see us sit down. We are working around the corner to bring the matter under control.
We understand that there's a certain reluctance among the people to speak with the security agencies and the police or to volunteer information. Have you been lucky in interacting with these persons?
Well, I think that is the perception of some other people, but others too are coming forward with information.
Okay.
So a number of people approached me and they gave information, and some of them also volunteered information to the security agencies.
Okay.
I know everyone and the way he or she feels. So I can't take it away from them, what they are claiming. But the more important thing is that everyone should try as much as possible to deliver information, no matter what it takes.
Honorable, 8 months, 9 victims, and no arrest at all. Do you think there's a certain slowness with the way this is being dealt with?
No, I don't think so. You see, this is a well-planned and orchestrated, crime. The perpetrators have planned, if you look at the modus operandi, it is something that they have planned for a very long time. So which means that they have been ahead of the security agencies. So it takes time for us to understand the way they operate before you can make any meaningful inroads with regards to arresting these people. However, people are not sleeping. You get all security officers within the municipality working 24 hours a day, trying to come out with solutions. So people are not sleeping at all. If we're in this country, you know that dealing with such crime is not easy. If the history of this country is anything to use as a reference, it takes time for us to be able to unravel the mystery behind it. But thank God the IGP is here. He has responded to our cry, and he has deployed a number of police officers into the region, and they are helping. You know, they are helping a lot.
So your confidence has been renewed that we'll
yes,
finally get to the bottom?
confidence has been renewed, yes. Yes.
Honorable, how do you think these things started happening? Some of the comments say that this is completely new to the region and to the municipality. How did it come about?
No, that is true, and that is what baffles many of us, and that is why we take our time and we are following it gradually and keenly, because this is actually alien to this municipality. For over 30 years ago, we have not experienced something like this, and then that is a generation. So when it is happening this time, I mean, it is an issue of concern to all of us.
Honorable, do you have anything to say to the people of Wa who are listening to put their hearts at rest?
I will appeal to them to exercise restraint and allow us to work peaceful to be able to unravel the mystery behind all these things. Because when they agitate, you know, the evidence and investigation of police are compromised and distorted. So we only appeal to them that they should remain calm and give us the room to operate. And inshallah, you know, the perpetrators of this crime are not far away from us again. We'll pick all of them.
Thank you so much, Honorable Isaku Tahiru Mumin, Municipal Chief Executive of the Wa Municipal Assembly, trying to encourage the indigents of the Upper West Region and Wa to be hopeful of justice being served soon. He's very positive that with the arrival of the IGP in the region, things will start turning around. Let me go back to our security analyst, Mutari Mumuni Mukhtar. If you're there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
The details that Erasung is giving us are very terrible. You know, if you listen to the information he just gave us, 9 people have been found like this in 8 months. Usually they're found with missing body parts. They do not think it's any sophisticated crime that is being carried on. I mean, some other people also think that it's quite sophisticated approach, and it needs, the whole situation needs thorough insight before something can be done. Where did this come from to the Upper West region? Are we experiencing something that is new to the region? Do we think that there could be some infiltration from across the borders?
Well, crime is very, very dynamic. There are several things you can say about this. Kidnapping, generally, it's a new thing in Ghana. If you were to do research 5, 6 years ago, and search, you know, anywhere, online or like archival sources, you will find very scanty information related to kidnapping in this country. Unfortunately, in the last 5 years, in the last 6 years, in the last 2 years, we've seen increasing incidences of, you know, kidnapping happening in ways that should worry all of us. And so while, you know, specifically, this is a very new thing in the area, and it's new in the way that it is happening is very, very worrying. There appear to be some ritualistic aspect to what is going on. Body parts of victims cut off and buried, you know, shallow burying of these victims. And some that are missing, no one knows what has happened to them so far, whether they are alive or not. These are very new things. The typology of security in our country has significantly changed by this. And by that, we need to have some very high level of commitment in terms of response to dealing with it. And at this moment, of course, it may appear very complex, but our security sector has mechanisms to deal with it. The investigative powers of the security agencies should be brought full force to ensure that we uncover the victims, you know, the perpetrators, as well as the motivation for what they are doing. And more importantly, at this moment, we need the support of the local population. We need to be able to cultivate their support and goodwill to be able to do this. As part of the security sector reform, you know, things that have happened in the last couple of decades, it is a stated objective for security agencies to develop a strong relations with the local population, relations that are anchored on trust and goodwill, because no effective or successful security sector exists without the support and willing commitment of the local population. Nearly all successful operations that you see happen, they happen with the support of local population. People are volunteering information and support to security agencies. The same way in this case in WA, we cannot succeed without the support of the local population. And I'm happy the IGP is on the ground. He's interacting with authorities, stakeholders, and the local leadership and local residents. We want to see local agencies and officers like the municipal chief executive and his people, the regional police command and its leaders, and the traditional leadership and religious leaders to put themselves at the forefront in developing strong relations with the local population and asking them, to volunteer information and support. That is the only way we can uncover what we need to uncover to, end this crime going on.
Mukhtar, in the last few months, we've been warned about the possibility of terrorism and interesting happenings in especially towns that have been exposed to people coming in from the borders. Do you think it's starting to manifest already?
Well, this should worry us. But we are yet to put the pieces together that should point to the fact that these are signs of the impending, fear that we've been expressing for so long. At the moment, the angle that is prominently featured is the ritualistic aspect of the crime. We want to see linkages in terms of who are the perpetrators, are they foreigners, and what are their motivations, and who are the accomplices in it, if they are any. These things are key. But beyond that, what is happening has quite some resemblance with what happened elsewhere before incidences like terrorist incidences happen. Hostage situations have some features in here. The capacity of the state to deal with kidnapping situations, hostage-taking situations, is key to successfully dealing with terrorist, crimes. The immediacy of action is very, very important. When crime happens in an area, how long does it take for security agencies to respond? And what is the nature of response? You've heard the narration in terms of the catalog of events that have happened. What has been the police response? Has there been any arrests? Has there been any detentions? Has there been any direct actions related to it? And that can tell the capacity of the security agencies to deal with terrorist-related violence. And if we're not seeing it, then it should tell us, or it should worry all of us, in terms of the fear of terrorist violence in our space here.
Right. Thank you so much, Mumuni Mukhtar. He's a security analyst and executive director at the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism. I'm not done with you yet. I'll come back to you shortly. I just need to get a few more answers from Irasong. So, Irasong, if you're still there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Irasong, when you interact with the locals about this situation, have they linked it to any happenings or any causes? Are they offering any such reasons?
Yes, and so when these things started to escalate in the past 4 months, the first body that was exhumed, behind a particular basic school where some of his body parts was missing, people started to believe that these killings and abductions are of ritualistic precedent. So the latest one that occurred, the latest security guard that was killed was on just Thursday, last Thursday. His body was exhumed on Sunday. The same thing happened. For him, the eye and the tongue was seen in an uncompleted building. So, and people have come to believe it the more because, when the search, when the people who went into the bush to search for these abducted persons, they go to an uncompleted building and realize that there was a pot inside the building with white cloth and then that of cola, and all kind of funny things inside the uncomputed building. Also, they saw a sack. Inside this sack, there was a lot of all kinds of tools, including an arrow, and then shovel, pickaxe, all manner of tools were found in this particular sack. So people have now come to believe that these occurrences are of ritualistic precedent.
Interesting. I believe that's because of the manner in which these killings seem to be conducted. What kind of people are being targeted? Is there any common trend that runs through the casualties? Is there a certain age? Is there a certain gender? What's going on there?
All right. So all of these people that have gone missing and that have been killed, they are all men in the first place. And secondly, most of them, about 5 of them, are security guards. Normally, they for their work in the evening and they don't return. When their families go in to search for them, they will not be found. And after some time, they will see them. They will retrieve these bodies in shallow graves. So about 5 out of the 9 killings and abductions are security guards. So we now come to believe that the target is the security men. But some people are also saying because these security men are the aged, most of them are above the age of 60. Just the one that was killed on Thursday is 49. But the rest, they are up above 60. And if you look at where they go to do their work, you see that security-wise is very poor. There is no lighting, and even these security guards, when they go to work, they don't arm themselves. They don't have anything with them. They just go there praying that God will guide them to the next day so that they will go and meet their family. So many people believe that because the security guards are aged, they are very weak and they are vulnerable. That is why they are targeted. So most of these security men in town of late, some of them have abandoned their work. Most of them who still go to work still complain. They fear that they may be the next. In fact, on the Thursday when the security guard from Pomuda was killed, that same dawn, a security guard at child support was also targeted. He was attacked. A full block was thrown at him, and right now he's at the hospital receiving treatment with his whole head being swollen. Another woman, amongst all of these, the only woman among them was attacked, but he managed to escape. The unknown man intruded her in her room, started fighting her, but they couldn't overcome her upon the intervention of neighbors. Also, they attacked her. As we speak, yesterday when we visited her at the hospital, they are waiting to go and do a CT scan to see what is happening to the head, because she was taken to the hospital unconscious, and also the head, as we speak, is also swollen because I learned they threw something at her, and she had a deep cut, a laceration on one side, on the left side of her head. So that is then the situation. Among them, just one woman was among the rest are men, and also out of the 9, we have about 5 that are security guards.
Interesting, Irasung, interesting picture of the situation. I'm going to be back to you again in a moment. Let me just invite those who are watching to call us on phone and join the conversation. You can leave your comments on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter if you're able to. That's MX24 TV on all those platforms. But the phone lines to call are 020-4738-481. Again, that's 020-4738-481 or 0550-331511. Again, that's 0550-331511. I'll be back to you in a moment, Irasong. Let me just go back to Mumuni Mukhtar. If you're still on the line, sir. Hello, Mumuni.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, fantastic. Now, it's becoming clearer the kind of situation that's going on over there. But as a security person, how do the residents get involved in solving this? What can they do?
It's nearly impossible that we can have this thing going on for so long without any other member of society or the community having foreknowledge or having information about it. The challenge is how do we ensure that people who have information are willing to come forward and, volunteer this information to security agencies to be able to commence, effective investigations into it. And so I believe strongly that there are people who know, who have relevant information relating to the commission of these crimes, people who know particularly the perpetrators in this, and people who might be privy to plans relating to this crime. And so the challenge is all of us, the responsibility is on all of us to be able to ensure that we motivate people, we encourage people to come forward with information. More importantly, the security agencies must be conducting their activities, their work in themselves in a manner that can elicit goodwill from the local population, that can give people assurances that when they come forward to volunteer information, they would not guarantee protection or anonymity to ensure that they are not victimized as a result of volunteering this information. And so I think that we should continue to motivate, encourage people, and I take this opportunity to, encourage the people of Wa and surrounding areas to come forward and volunteer information, even if you're not willing or not comfortable with sharing information with security officials. You can do so with the municipal chief executive, with the district chief executive, or an assemblyman or woman, or a chief or an imam or your pastor. That can help get to security forces. Because it's important that we get rid of these perpetrators within our midst or wherever they may have been coming from. Other than that, all of us, our security, it would significantly be undermined.
Right.
It will continue to have this individual within us.
Right, Mukhtar, let me just go to the line. We have a caller. Isa, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Good evening.
Yes, let's hear you, please.
Yeah, like the security, I'm going to talk about the security. Like most of the security are stationed by the roadside. You don't find most of them at the corners of Agua. You can see that they are always stationed by the roadside. That's I'm talking about the policemen. If you look at in the night, you can always see them by the roadside, but you don't see them out of the road. And I see most of these crimes are always taken outside the roadside. So they should station themselves somewhere around those areas than only being by the roadside.
Right, Isa. What's the mood? Are you calling us from Wa?
I'm from Wa. The mood in Wa is at the moment is very sad. And
hello, Isa, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Hello?
Isa, we're listening. Okay, we lost Isa there, but I think he made his point. If you're trying to call, the phone lines are 020-4738-481. That's 020-4738-481. Also 0550-331511. That's 0550-331511. We just continue with the discussion. I'll go back to Mukhtar. And how can they protect themselves, in these times when all these things are happening?
I think we all have to be very vigilant. If you travel to these parts that we're talking about, in Wa and surrounding areas, I've been in this part consistently in the last, 4 months, and I can tell you that our security is significantly very, very exposed. During nighttime, lighting is very, very poor. Along the main streets and, streets within the town and within the cities in the area. And so lighting is very important for nighttime security. We need to be very vigilant as individuals in terms of what times of the night, how much time we spend outside of the night, and with whom or with how many people. These are very, very critical to ensure that we are not exposed to criminals or potential perpetrators of violence on the streets. We need to be able to find ways to safeguard our collective security in neighboring, communities where access to security or safe security is very, very remote. And so I've seen where people have set up their own ad hoc, watchdog committees that help to protect and provide security for their communities.
Right.
These are very, very key. And we can also initiate relations with, law enforcement. We can initiate relations with police officers within the city to ensure that we have, effective and responsive relations between us. Whenever we have situations that require the support of the police, we can easily and readily access it. This is very important to ensure that we can continuously live in peace and live in confidence in our communities. At the moment, as I say, it doesn't appear like that. Nighttime, life is very, very hampered by the lighting system and the very poor nature of some roads. And so it's important that we take all this into consideration.
Thank you so much. I'm going to still come to you shortly because I want your last words. But let me get Fatao from Bole, who's on the line. Fatao, good evening. Thank you for calling us. I apologize. I think I kept you waiting so long that you hung up on us. So let me come back to you, Mukhtar. Just concerning the surrounding towns and cities close to the Wa municipality, how should they also be safeguarding themselves?
In those areas, people are very familiar with each other. Nearly everyone knows everyone else. And so it's easy to deal with security in those areas, except, attacks or threats that come from external sources. And so in that way, they also need to have that kind of watchdog committee, committees that are recognized with the support of police services in the areas. That way you can have seamless coordination for support when you need support in those communities. This time, security, is a very, very, we're in a very, very dangerous situation currently. Our typology of crime in Ghana has significantly changed, and we are seeing it manifest even in the northern part of the country, in places like Wa, and in places like Tamale, in places like Boga, and many other parts here. Because there are parts of this country that are significantly ungoverned. And when I say that, I mean that it's very, very remote. Access to security is very, very remote. The towns are very apart from each other, and so when an incident happens in one area, it takes time for police to be able to respond to it, and because the criminals know this, they perpetrate crimes where they know that local communities have difficulty in accessing police services or police support. Secondly, there's a significant rise in terms of desperation among young people for money, for wealth, and for all kinds of things. And then, they tend to engage in ritualistic activities as a tool or as tools to get this wealth. Wherever they get that, from is another thing. And we've seen it happen in a very pervasive way. So all these things collectively have brought on significant complexity in terms of dealing with crime. But the single, big step for all of us is to be vigilant, is to be prepared, and to be connected to sources of support when we need security support.
Right. Thank you so much. Mukhtar Mumuni. Mukhtar is a security analyst and executive director at the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism. Earlier, we spoke with Honorable Isaku Tairu Mumin, who is the MC for the Wat Municipal Assembly. We also spoke with Erasum Tajuddin, regional content manager here for MX24, who gave us a quick rundown and more insight into the situation. We're going to be monitoring this development in the Upper West region, especially with the arrival of the IGP today. Everyone is looking forward to positive results. And if in 8 months and after 8 victims, there's been no arrest and no results and no solution at all to the whole problem over there, we are hoping that that will change from today. But we'll be bringing you the updates as they come. On behalf of everyone here at MX24 Television, we're so grateful that you've spent 1 hour of your evening with us. My name is Nwong Falong. Good evening. See you same time tomorrow.